Hello, dear viewer. Today I have one doozy of a tale for you. If you heard this story without the video evidence, you probably wouldn't believe me. But sometimes, extraordinary things happen to even the most ordinary of people. Sometimes, life will give you a story or two to tell just so you can fondly remember. And so, here's the story about how I became a sports mascot for a few days. There's a number of ways I could tell this story, really. I'd planned this trip for well over a year, and like many plans, it fell apart every way it could possibly fall apart. But just like plans have a funny way of unraveling and even disintegrating, they can also resolve themselves in other, unexpected, different, and some might even say comical ways. I'd always wanted to be a performer. The medium never mattered as long as I could entertain at least one person. I love stage acting. I've been in many plays and musicals for as long as I can remember. When I moved overseas, I lost the ability to do that. Then I opened a YouTube channel so I could keep acting and keep happy and sane. I had many a controversial moment in this last 10 years of doing YouTube stuff. Made many people happy, made many people angry with my blunt and uncensored viewpoints. But that's not what this video is about. Let me begin this story with a little background as to the motives and history behind my plan. Back in 2015, as you may know, I made a video about my return to Argentina to see my favorite soccer team, San Lorenzo de Almagro. A video you can see on my channel, link in the description. I got to experience a win, a loss. I got to experience the passion, the ambiance of the home crowd, and I became even more of a fan of the team than ever before. It was a beautiful experience altogether that cemented my team spirit. Fast forward now to 2017. I used to have a rather negative and even vitriolic view of the furry fandom.
There are plenty of people willing and able to partner up with you in this world. We don't need to be staring sensually at our pets, folks.
There was a longtime viewer and now close personal friend of mine who tirelessly worked to change my mind over the years. He finally convinced me to attend a furry convention, and I did. I met some very interesting people, some of which are now good friends of mine. While my perspective on the fandom was broadened, I still retain that the furry community has a lot of cleaning up to do and a lot of self-control issues to work out. That's a topic for another video, of course, if the topic even comes up at all. Now, why did I mention these two seemingly unrelated bits of history from my channel? Because as a result of my delving into the world of furries, I ended up getting this crazy idea that had gotten into my head almost immediately. In November of 2017, I got together with my new furry artist friends to help me design my next performance project. Meet Ral Corvan, my crow character. Now, this isn't the first time I've worn a mascot suit. Back in 2002, I briefly donned this costume for Tempe Parks and Rec as Freestyle the Turtle, teaching little kids about pool safety, and moreover, I wore this in the blazing Arizona summer heat, so I'm familiar with how hot it can get in these kind of suits. So over the course of the next year, I would work not only to lose weight and become more physically active, but also I would slowly develop my crow character, and with an upcoming trip to Argentina looming over the horizon, my idea was to bring a piece of the American sports show with me and record the reactions I get. Anyhow, as some viewers of my channel may have learned, the crow is the emblematic spirit animal of San Lorenzo. Their fans are called crows due to the fact that the team was founded by a priest who in olden times were called crows due to the way that they dressed. It's not a common thing at all, if it even exists, that is, to have a guy in a mascot suit prancing around the field entertaining a crowd. This is a very American concept, actually. Certainly no Argentine soccer team I know of does this, so why not try it out? Well, I decided I would fly in November of 2018 with this crow outfit in tow to Argentina, just in time for our derby match, the classic game against our eternal rivals, Huracan. I was determined to be a team mascot. My suit was finished in late April. I attended another convention and had the time of my life, looking at the world through different eyes. I could tell you a million things about how differently people see you when you're essentially a big, fluffy, cuddly, giant plush toy. I fully understand the appeal for people both inside the suits and outside. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. But that, too, is a topic for another day. If it even comes up. So anyhow, the day of my flight finally arrived. I was set to go. So it is now November 18th, and the first problem I ran into was that due to the amount of violence involved with the hooligan contingent of Argentine soccer, there's a rule set in place by the authorities involved in stadium security that no one may be inside a stadium with their face covered. Due to this rule, I set out to obtain the necessary permits in order to be allowed to cheer for my team with my crow mask on. So we started by asking at San Lorenzo's main office. They told us to go to the stadium itself and ask the people in charge of security there for permission. We went there, and we were told that they're not actually in charge of their own security, and that we would have to ask the Argentine Football Association for these permits. We went there, and were told to obtain the permit from the Ministry of Sports. From there, we were rerouted yet again to the actual police department itself, finally obtaining a verbal permit and the phone number and email of the head honcho in charge of sporting event security in the city. We prepared for this big game, which was supposed to be played on November 25th in San Lorenzo's home field. November 24th rolls around. The biggest derby in Argentina and one of the biggest rivalries known worldwide is that of Argentina's top two teams, River Plate and Boca Juniors. The Liberators Cup, a tournament to crown South America's best team, where the winner gets to represent the continent against the winner of every other continent's champion, was about to have its final match. It just so happened that the Big Two in Argentina made it to the final, which was to be played in two legs. The first was played in Boca Stadium, where they tied 2-2. The day before my game was supposed to happen, this epic final was supposed to have been played in River Plate's Monumental Stadium. And then this happened. That very night of the 24th, it was announced on TV that due to the violent acts that occurred that forced the cancellation of the River Boca game, the game would be postponed to be played the very next day. And because of that, my game would be canceled and also postponed because of the lack of security. I was floored. I had 4 seats to this game. I spent a pretty penny not only planning to show my costume off, but also to watch us play against our biggest rivals in what I'd hoped would be a fun and epic game to match a fun and epic day. It wasn't meant to be. So I hatched a last-minute backup plan. I made a YouTube video on my backup channel to invite people from my San Lorenzo Facebook group to please show up at the stadium anyway and party with me. I would be without a game, but I refused to leave Argentina without a party. Who am I kidding? Few people even saw that video. Fewer people still showed up. Here's me arriving at the stadium grounds.
Hoy no hubo partido, pero va a haber fiesta.
Cuervo, se me alegría. Y la tuya, vamos a ver. Por la vuelta, todo varía.
So I thought to myself, at least I'll go take some pictures and film something inside the empty stadium itself. Turns out, I wasn't the only guy that came from afar to miss out on this big game. And in an effort to appease the fans who fund the team, who are paying members, and who also lost money traveling to see the game, San Lorenzo agreed to have the team's associates watch their players train, and allowed them to have a barbecue party there instead. I wasn't an associate. The moment I arrived at the gate, this guard here immediately turned me away. City permits and everything. Didn't matter that I'd lost hundreds of dollars in travel fees and game fees, and that I came from as far as the United States. I was not getting in. Until by pure chance, someone with some pull showed at the gate, intending to attend this event. He saw me in my big-ass crow outfit. He loved it, asked me who I was, and I told him the same story I just told you. And I'll never forget what happened next as long as I live. You see, this guy here, who prefers to remain unnamed, is in charge of a number of events concerning San Lorenzo. He's in charge of everything from their news department to their girls' indoor soccer team. He's one of the main proponents of San Lorenzo's return to Boedo movement, and as such, he commands a lot of respect within the team's establishment. He quickly called the guard off and reprimanded him for not letting me in, while allowing so many others, even without ID, to go in. He said, "We shouldn't employ people like you in our club. You make us look bad. This isn't how we treat our guests." Oh, he made quite the stir. The rent-a-cop backed down, let us in, and what followed was something else.
Y come gusanos, ojo.
Estoy sudando.
Foto, a ver, este no se va a asustar. Este está re loco este. Sacó una foto con el...
¿Qué pasó?
¿Qué le pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Si un cocó no está haciendo nada. ¿Está bien comida el cocó? Ahora va a hacer las piruetas en la cancha.
¡Eh, Pichi!
Nos saquemos las pibas.
Amor, que grita.
Vamos a la piba, vamos a la piba.
Ahora sí.
Las cuervas.
Gracias. Calor.
Son de alegría.
Mi locura.
Chichoso mi vida. Abuelo, vamos a volver. Por la vuelta. Todo daría ciclón.
Tomando. Pueden saltar de filmación, entonces no hay problema.
Hace calor ahí adentro.
Ah, porque filmación.
Son de alegría.
Sí, sí.
Muy amable, ¿eh?
Vamos.
Es filmación, haz lo que quiera.
So I got to meet and take pictures with several of our current stars. I got to score a goal in our holy ground in suit, take a corner shot in suit, and generally have a good time. After everything was over, after taking videos and pics with several famous players, directors, fans, parents, and their kids, I was invited to be the mascot for the women's indoor soccer team, as well as the Little League 8 to 12 teams. I would animate 2 more events before my trip was over. And just as the party had died down on the 25th of November, as I was preparing to leave the stadium, right as it emptied of people, a film crew was making its way towards the stadium. Turns out that to take advantage of the fact that no game was going to be played that Sunday due to the cancellation, a European film crew took this opportunity, of all times, to take footage for an upcoming documentary on the life of Pope Francis. And one of the segments was to be about his love for San Lorenzo and a brief history of this aspect of the Pope's life. They spotted this huge-ass crow on their way in, and wouldn't you know it, the director said, "I need this crow in my movie. This crow would be perfect for a cameo spot." Here's all I can show you until the film is actually released. But holy moly, what a crazy weird coincidence. I could not have planned this or planned for this. Sometimes, life is just full of fun surprises. So after what was like an hour and a half of filming and multiple takes done from multiple angles, we all said our goodbyes, took some pictures with the cast and crew, and my influential friend returned. He wanted me to come back and attend 2 more events for San Lorenzo. One was for the semifinal of the women's indoor soccer, and lastly, the Little Leaguers, the 8 to 12 kids, from which future players are cultivated. I animated not only the Little League tourney, but also the award ceremony. I got to be on stage again, something I longed for. To entertain a crowd again, to be a performer again. The experience was undescribable. I was even announced as the official mascot while I strutted around the field for the parents of the Little Leaguers. I was truly happy, and I was in my element once again. And that is how, for 2 weeks, I became a sports team mascot. I hope to return very soon to animate the main team, especially now that we need it most. We're at the bottom of the league currently, and I can't see a time where a mascot would be needed more than now. Mark my words, I will be back, San Lorenzo. In the following days, I had to deal with a whole city block and whole roads leading out of Buenos Aires being blocked off due to the G20 summit, which I had no idea was even going to take place there. As a result, I missed out on taking my family to certain touristy attractions and places. If not for having been found purely by chance outside of the stadium's gate, I might have lost out on this entire trip, thanks to violence, Argentine bureaucracy, and the goddamn G20. Just another experience I get to add to my list of stories to tell. Thank you for watching, dear viewers.